Identity and purpose. So that's what we are going to be discussing this morning. So what is identity? What is purpose? What is identity? We start with definition. The word identity means what a thing is. So what is the identity of a person? What the person is. What is the identity of a thing? What it is. And purpose is about what the thing is for. What the thing is, what it is for. And we're talking to youth. So the question is, what are you? What is your life? Because when we talk about you, we're talking about your life. What is it? I had a book I've written, You and Your Life. We use it where I worship for the teen. And it's a book that is given as a copy to the teens graduating to the senior church. Unfortunately, I didn't have any copies. If not, I should have brought them. I wrote the book because I realized that many of us really don't understand how to live. And not only that, this issue of productive living, because there are many idle people. What made me to write that book? Because my main aim, what God has called me to do, is to teach and educate people about productive living. That's what I've been talking about for the past almost 30 years. So I wrote that book, and believe me, even the book surprised me because of the demand. That's why I couldn't have any copy to bring. If I had known earlier, maybe sometime we would have printed some copies more. But that book, I defined what your life is. And the aim is to help you understand why you should walk. There are many young people who are idle. There are many people, even adults, that are idle. So when you know what your life really is, there are certain verses in the Bible we'll be making reference to that you'll understand why those verses are. There are many young people, or people generally, not even young people alone, who think work is punishment. So when they are asked to work, when they are told to be productive, some of them, because I've asked people, what is work? Why do you work? And they will tell me, work is what I do to make a living. Why do you work? So that I can make a living, I can get food. The thing way they do to get job, that is work, they say. And I said, no wonder if you employ people, for example, those who employ people, maybe possibly have problems like that with employees here, who are not faithful, who are not committed. So I said, look, I think for us to get people to be productive, to get people to be committed where they are employed, we need to explain to them what really their life is, why they are and who they are. And so I want us to start with defining what your life is, because when we define what your life is, we will be able to know who you are. I realized my life is three things. First is that my life is a promise. Your life is a part of a whole. And then three, your life is an opportunity. I will explain what they mean. So when I say, I promise you something, what does it mean? Since we are few, let's talk. What does it mean? If somebody say, I promise you something, or if I say it's a promise, what does that mean? Giving you assurance that I'm going to do something. Yes. Commitment. An undertaking. Fantastic. Purpose. Okay. A pledge. How is your life a pledge? How is your life a promise? As I said, the aim of this discussion is to know how to live. Is that not so? And we want to encourage our youth to know how to live so that they can live as they are expected to live. Because the reason for why we have many of the problems we have, or indeed all the problems we have, is because we are not living as we are supposed to live. If only you understand who you are and you live the way you are supposed to live, believe me, you won't lack anything. You will enjoy living. There are many people today who are not enjoying the experience of living, even Christians. I was told of a story, one mad woman. Is there anybody from Mangu here? People from Mangu know the story. It's a popular story there. They said there's this mad woman who caught a vulture live. And she had this big pot of water on a fire. You know the story, right? Anybody from Mangu knows the story, I'm told. So when I heard the story, I always related to this issue. Because everywhere I go, Christians, I discover we are not enjoying life. Jesus said, I came that they may have life and have it what? Abundantly. An abundant life, an enjoyable life. But unfortunately, many of us are not. And it's simple. We don't know what our life is and we're not living it correctly. They said the mad woman caught the vulture and just dipped the damn thing inside hot water to cook. And the vulture was struggling to escape. Muma haka muka samu duniyan sai ka yi hakuri. He said the world na hard life, oh. The world tough. And that's so we say find the world. Today na your turn, make it just day. Many Christians are saying, this world now, wahala, everywhere. When we get to heaven, everything will be okay. Believe me, if you don't live well here, you may not reach heaven. That's the problem. That's why we need to educate our young people and even the adults on what life really is and how it should be lived. Because until you know a thing, you can't use it well. Dunia say hakuri, kaya hakuri. When they think they feel pain, but now so Christians there. And that's how we advise people. People are having challenges in their marriages. They go and they are trying to please help. They say, Kinsen aure hakuri ne. And you are suffering when you are not supposed to suffer. The Bible says, my people perish lack of knowledge. That verse is key. So, when we say your life is a promise, what does it mean? And because if you don't know what that means, you will not know how to live. Where did you come from? If I ask you that question, who sent you here? You don't know who sent you? God. God sent you here, isn't it? Why did God send you here? Because if you know why God sent you here, then you will know why your life is a promise. When children have issues, they run to their parents. Is that not so? Why do they run to their parents? Because their parents will provide solutions to their problems. Now, when we pray to God, when we have problems, we are praying is like running to our Father. Is that not so? Because He has promised to what? Fulfill our needs when we come to Him. Now, when you pray to God for food, for example, does God rain food from heaven? How does He get food to you? Through work. Now, what is work? We'll talk about that. But let's look at this issue of when we pray to God with a problem, God answers because He's our Father. How does God answer? He uses a human being. God will never do anything in the world. He walks through human beings. So listen to this. The arrival of every human being is a fulfillment of the promise that God has made to His children that when they have needs, come to me. So every one of us is a fulfillment of promise. That's why you are a promise. The arrival of every child to the world is an answer to God's promise that He will be a father. When a child comes today, God has seen the problem coming many years from now. So the child, before the problem manifests, the child should have been ready to deal with the issue. Every one of us is a promise. You are a promise. You are not an accident. You are not just a haphazard happening. God sent you here for a purpose, as fulfillment of a promise. He had pledged to meet the needs of His children. Your coming is not an accident. God knew there is going to be a problem in the world. God knows the problem in the world. So He sent you equipped with when developed and used, can deal with a particular problem. The reason why we have problems unsolved in the world is not because God does not care. It's because the people He had sent to deal with the problems don't know that they're here to deal with these problems, so they are not living to deal with those problems. You came as a raw material. You need to be developed to be able to deal with the issues that you came to deal with. It's like an equipment and a knife. You need to sharpen the knife to make it sharp to cut. Is that not so? Now, but if you don't even know what the knife is for, you wouldn't know that it needs sharpening and using. So the problems we have in the world today, many of us are crying up to God. Crying up to God. Meanwhile, God has sent the answer. Because I'm going to explain why the consequences, the danger of you not living to fulfill your purpose. It's a very serious matter, honestly. Very serious matter. Because there are people today crying up to God. God, why now? Where are you? These issues. And God said, I had sent you. But because of ignorance, you are not living to fulfill the promise. And you know the consequences of that. People are saying, this is your God. It is so. This God, where they talk about, why in day, when the problem, all these problems over again. Meanwhile, He has sent you. It's a serious thing for you not to live to fulfill your purpose. Your life is a promise. Your life is a part of a whole. And then the last but not the least, your life is an opportunity. Three things. A promise, part of a whole, an opportunity. What do this mean? And what is the consequences? What are the effects of you not living your life as it is expected? So the first I said is your life is a promise. God had promised His children to meet their needs. God has promised his children, whatever problems they have, come to me as your father. But because God cannot function in the world, because God is spirit, is that not so? No spirit being can function in the physical being. It needs a body. So even Satan needs a body. So God walks through men. So as people are crying up to God, he sends people. The arrival of every child is the arrival of the answer to somebody's prayer. That guy sitting down there, you don't know who he will be. But he had come as an answer to somebody's prayer. You are an answer to somebody's prayer. And if the problem remains unsolved, it's not God's fault. It's your fault because of ignorance of who you are and ignorance of how you should live. You came in raw form. You need development to be used, as I said. So, every one of us came with the answer to somebody's question. And you need to know that because everything that you need to live a good life in this world is already in the world, but not with God. It's with people. I always like using the example of money. Since we are going to be talking about financial literacy in the second phase, let's talk about money as our example, okay? Do you think God did not know that you will need money when you come to the world? Did he know? He knew, isn't it? So why didn't he send you with either a checkbook or an ATM card? He knows you will have need for money. Is that not so? So why did he not send you with an ATM card or a checkbook? The ATM card he sent you with is that solution to the problem you have come to solve. Because money is simply appreciation for the solution you've provided. I usually say, Kudi sheda nunango there, appreciation note. Money is simply appreciation note. So when you deliver the solution to the problem that you came with, people will appreciate you. All the money you need is not with God. That's why when I tell people, don't pray to God about money. Because money is not with God. Money is with people. What people have is what? Problems. So what you should be praying about is, God, show me the problem that I've come to solve. And then you develop yourself because you are equipped with talents, gifts that can enable you solve problems for people and they will appreciate you. Money is simply appreciation for solutions you've provided. And God equipped you with talents, giftings that when developed can solve particular problems for people. God promised he will meet our needs. He sent a human being with talents and giftings to deal with issues. Did we get that? Every one of us is carrying something the world is waiting for. And the only thing that you will get what you need is to download what you carry. The reason why many of us end up in lack is simply we are not delivering what we came with. You are a promise. Are you living to fulfill the promise? Living to create value, living to solve problems. You are simply doing what you have been sent to do. And when you do what you have been sent to do, not only will God be happy with you, but even human beings will be happy with you. And when people are happy with you, what do you? They appreciate you. I realize there is no scarcity of money. The only problem is that money does not go where it is needed. Money goes where it is attracted. And what attracts money? Value. How do you create value? Use the talents and giftings that you have. But you won't know this and you won't live this way unless you know that you are a promise. God sent you here in fulfillment of his promise to his children that he will meet their needs. If you send your child to go do something for you and the child goes and does not do the thing, by the time the child comes back, what are you going to do? What does that mean? I want you to say it because make una no sin na me talk am. Waiting God, if you send your child to go do something, the child goes, he doesn't do it, and come back, what will you do to the child? You will flog him. Now, how many of us want to be flogged when we get back to God? Chai. That is why they say hell. Punishment for those who don't live. I said, we will talk more about that. Because even the punishment does not, even there, it starts even from here. When you don't live correctly. It starts from here. That's why this topic is very important. It's a foundational requirement that every Christian should know. Who are you? Why are you? What are you? You are a promise that needs to be fulfilled. The world is waiting for you to download what you came with. Because the sufferings that we have, the problems that we have in society today, it's not as if God does not know about them. God knows. And he has sent somebody equipped to deal with the issue. But ignorance of what life is and how life should be lived is what is creating our problem. you lack anything, it's not God's fault. Because everything that you need, God has provided. He said it, isn't it? He has provided us with everything we need for godliness and life. There's no shortage in God's kingdom. The only problem is shortage of people who are qualified to get. And for you to get, you must fulfill purpose. So you are a promise. Fulfill the promise that you are by living life, doing what you are here for. And that it takes understanding the talents that you are equipped with. Because when you know the talents you are equipped with, you will know what purpose you are here for. Parents, if there's anything I would love to see a parent do, is to help his child or her child identify who he is. She must identify who she is, because when you are not doing what we are supposed to be doing, all of us are going to be suffering. So the second one we said is what? You are part of a whole. What does that mean? If you take me, I'm a complete human being. Is that not so? 2 hands, 2 legs. I'm not handicapped. At least one of them is not missing. Now, if we take this hand off and I come here with one hand, how do you label me? Not complete, disabled. Now they don't want using that word disabled. They say it's handicapped. So you are a part of a whole means without you, the system is not complete. Without you, life will not be complete. Without you, the world is not complete. I'm not crazy about football, but sometimes when I'm a bit free, I sit down to listen. I will watch. It helps to relax my head. So one of the days I was watching football. There was this team playing, and it was almost getting to the end. It was 0-0. And one of the teams needed to win the match by all means, so that if not, they'll be relegated. So the guys were so serious. Everybody moved in. To the extent that at one point, the goalkeeper also went in. They wanted to score by all means. They wanted to score, but they needed to score, and they wanted to score. And as they were playing, and all of them were moving in and shouting this and that, these guys that, well, whether they lose or they win, it doesn't mean anything to them, got the ball. And the man looked up and saw the net was empty. So he just kicked the ball casually, and then the ball entered 1-0, injury time. Before they knew it, they blow the whistle. End of the match. Now, they scored easily because of what? Sorry? The goalkeeper was not in the net, in his position. Will we say the goalkeeper lost the match? Right? The what? The entire team. Hey. You know what this means? Every one of us came into the world like a football player belonging to a football team to play a particular position. When you are not in your position, they can score through your wing or your position. And when they score through your wing, at the end of the day, all of us will lose, not you. Same with life. When you are not living to fulfill your purpose, the whole world, the whole society suffers, not only you. Even though you yourself will suffer the serious consequences more. But all of us will suffer. When one person is not productive, look at it even from the family level. When one member of the family is not functioning well, when one member of the family is not living up to expectation, it becomes a concern for the whole family. When one member of the family is sick, all of us are sick. Same with society. That's why some of us are so passionate about wanting to see people live productive lives. Because you are not an accident. You have a purpose. You have a position to play in this life. When you are not living as life you are expected to live, they will score through your wing. We will all suffer. We will all suffer. The reason why we want you productive is because when you are not playing your wing, playing your position, they will score. No wonder when you read certain verses in the Bible, you'll be wondering why this. And there are two major verses I'll just use in the Bible. There are many others, but I'll use only two to illustrate the reason why these verses came up. Because when you are not living and solving the problem that God sent you to come and solve, that is, fulfilling the promise that God sent you as, there are consequences. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10. Can somebody read that for us? 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10. For even when we were with you, these we commanded you, that if anyone would not walk, neither should he what? Hey. If you don't eat, what will happen to you? you die. So if you are not working, you should rather be. What is work? Work is doing what can create solution to a problem. Work is what you do to meet human needs. It's value creation. So if you are not creating value, Paul says you rather be dead. That's a serious talk. If you are not creating value, you rather be dead. That means the need for you to create value is important. From what I said, if you are not creating value, what you need will not be given to you, because everything you need is with human beings. And if they give you things in appreciation for what you give them, then if you have not given, why should they give you? No wonder you are poor. You are poor not because there's lack of what you need to be rich, but it's because they are given to you as a reward for delivering what you came with for them. So if you have not delivered what you came with for them, why should they give you what they have as a reward for giving? So now do you see why you lack? It's not because God does not want to give you. God operates by principles. The only thing that sometimes I do, I say, okay, there's what God calls grace. And the grace of God has it that when the sun comes out, it shines both on the wicked and the good. When rain falls, it falls on both the wicked and the good. You don't have to do anything for rain to fall on your farm. That's God's grace. But God is calling us beyond life of grace, because grace is just survival. That's why we are still alive, some of us, because we are not walking. We are not delivering the message we came with. Paul says, if you will not walk, you rather be dead. How many of us want to be dead? I told you of one story. Was it the day before yesterday? They took a corpse to the mortuary, and then, they put the name of the, those of you who have ever taken corpse to the mortuary, the name. And this guy who was writing the thing thought they were talking about his name. So he wrote his name in that place. So some other people brought another dead body, and they were filling the place, and they saw, the one they brought before, they saw that man's name. Say, hey, this man don't die. So when they left the place, they went to the house to go and greet them. And then as they sat down, then the man came from the room. We just saw his name in the mortuary. Friends, if you are not productive, Paul says you rather be dead. You are useless. Just like a dead tree has no use. Even dead tree itself better pass you, because we can use it as firewood. Matthew chapter 25, from verses 14 to 30 is the parable of the talents. We are told the man gave one of his servants 5. He gave one 2. He gave one 1. Each of them went out and worked with their, except the one with 1. And when the master came back and discovered that one person, the one with 1 did not use it, he described him as a wicked person. Do you know what that means? If you are not living life and doing what benefits others, you are not creating value for people, you are wicked. You are a wicked person. How? Why? See yourself as somebody who, God said, somebody is sick in Tudunwada. So we give you medicine, go and give it to them so that you can heal the person. And you went to Tudunwada with the medicine in your pocket, you refused to deliver it, and the man died. Who killed the person? Is it a disease? No, you who refused to give the medicine. So why? You are a wicked person. That's the description for you. So God sent into the world with talents to develop and use to solve problems for people, and you refuse to do it and you keep it. Listen to these parents. Any parent who does not help develop his child or her child to be able to live a productive life, you are producing a wicked person. And you too will suffer punishment. You mean, did you hear that? You know what Goyo Masara is? I will explain. It's a responsibility to have a child, because not only to feed the child, but to help him to understand that he's a promise. And you enable him to be able to live and fulfill the promise that he is. That's what parenting should be. Because if you have brought up a child and that child is not able to live life as life should be lived, and how should life be lived? Solving problems. If your child cannot be productive, if your child is not doing what society is waiting for, you've not finished your work. You are not doing what God expects you to do as a parent. Goyo Masara is this, and I want you to listen to this. When you sow maize grows, not be so. Mama maize to grow, then she go back her pikin. Now the problem with Mama maize be say she no say when you get pikin, time they come when that pikin is supposed to come down to go start your own house. Mama maize they carry pikin so they grow beards like my brother on. No so with the white hair, she still they carry the pikin. What thing will happen at the end of the day? Mama dry up, pikin dry up. Next year you have to sow. Children came Yes, we are channels, but we're expected to raise them and release them to society to solve the problem that they came to solve with. It's not about holding them, keeping them, and not preventing them to come down like my mom is, and you die along with them. Is that what happens with mango? No. You sow mango grow, begin ripe, begin. Once it is ripe, what will happen? Come on, give me room, make her have another baby. And it will drop. And she will go and live and produce other children. But Miss dries with her children. Because life is generational. And every person comes with something. So we're supposed to, after a time, you're supposed to come down and hand over. One of the projects I'm working on that I'm very passionate about is retirement. I'm talking about that very seriously now because I realize that many people are suffering when they retire. One thing is we are very ignorant about this subject because we are ignorant about life. So you are a part of a whole. When you are not playing your part, we will suffer. When you are not playing your part, you will suffer. But if it were that you alone will suffer, we will leave you with the thing. But when you are not doing your part, we too go suffer. That's why we are passionate about making sure everybody is productive. The parable of that talent, it says, the least I expect of you is to have kept it in the bank. Is that not so? You know what that means? Money is supposed to be traded with. But when you cannot trade with money, you put it in the bank. And when you put money in the bank, do they leave it in the bank? What do they do? How do they trade with it? How do they trade with it? They give to people who have created platforms that money is traded on. The platforms, we call them business. And then people who have created platforms, they employ people. So God is saying every one of us must be productive on his or her own platform. The least I expect of you in the way you live is that you are functioning on another person's platform, but not to be idle. That's wickedness. Anybody who feeds an idle man is a wicked man. Jeremiah 17:5 says, he who causes is the one who depends on man. When good comes, you won't see it. Do you know what happens? By the time you refuse to let your children go, like the maize, God will dry up your source to release these children because they have an assignment to do and they've been given a time to do it. And if you insist on carrying them, you don't want to let them go, to fulfill God's purpose, God will find a way of making sure you release them. And how does he do that? He dries up your source. That's why people who encourage dependency end up poor. No matter how rich you are, if you refuse to let your children go, if you refuse to enable people to be able to live productive lives, you say, come, just stay around me, I will support you, or what have you, you will end up also poor. See what has happened to northern Nigeria because of this culture of dependency. Go to far north and see the level of poverty. You are a part of a whole. That's why we are talking about it, so that you can go out and start functioning well. We are talking about it so that, Mama, you go release Pekin, makes you go. Because by the time you don't, by the time you are not living as a, we are all going to suffer. Just like when the goalkeeper was not in his position and they scored, the whole team lost the match. You have a purpose, you are a promise. God sent you with a message to deliver to the world. If only you can find what that message is and you develop yourself, because we came equipped but not qualified. So we need development. I will talk a little bit about the process of development for you to be able to function as expected. But I want to emphasize this need for you to be productive, the need for you to live, create solutions to human problems, because you came as a solution to the world. You are carrying something the world is waiting for. Idleness is sin. For you to be idle, you better be dead. That's what Paul says. And God says, the least I expect of you is to have put your talent in the bank. So the least way we expect you to be living in this world is that you are an employee, but not that you are idle. Young people, adults, it's a message for all of us. Is that not so? Because those of us that God has blessed with children, we must raise them to live, to know what life is and how life should be lived. And then the young people themselves should not need to know what life is and how it should be lived. Because we are in the mess that we are in today because of ignorance of what life is and how life should be lived. You know, God allows us to go through, yes, problems come up and God can solve all these problems. So why does he allow us to go through these things? Experience, training. Because some of us are passionate about wanting to see people be productive in a way that will benefit others, because they say You never know what it means to be hungry until you go hungry. Is that not so? We've gone through experiences of lack, so one knows why we need to work. Because when you are in lack, it's not about going around begging people. But when you are creating value, which you have been equipped to be able to create, every one of us has something unique to deliver to the world. And the more you can do it for the benefit of the people, the more they will give you. When people say, what is business? Or what is work? And they say, what you do to make a living. The focus is what? It's them. But that's not what business is supposed to be. That's not what work is supposed to be. Work is about working for people, doing things for people. And when you do things for people, they will give you what you need continuously, as long as you can serve them well. So, your life is a promise. Your life is a part of a whole. Any questions on those before we go on to the last one? Your life is an opportunity. Good. So, can we go on? You are here as a promise. You need to fulfill the promise. And you need to, because everything that you need is with people. And they won't give it to you until you give them what you carry for them. This world is say, give and you will get. Is that not so? When you have not given and you take, you are a thief. And there are consequences. And the way you give is through work. Give and you get. Anytime you get without giving, you are a thief. So the last one is, your life is an opportunity. What is opportunity? Opportunity is chance. Hello? Opportunity is what? Chance. Opportunity is chance. The chance to do. So every one of us came into the world. You've been given a period to live to do it. You're not going to be here forever. There's a time allocated to you to do what you have been brought to come and do. God has given you the opportunity to do. There's something we call time. When he was teaching me about this concept, he showed me 3 candles burning. Every time I always come with candles. Today I don't know what happened to me. I should have brought the candles. But he showed me 3 candles burning. One was tall, one was a little bit like, and the one was very short. They were burning. I said, what do you see? I said, I can see candles burning. He said, now listen to this. Because if you are going to talk to people about life and how to live it, the fact it has a purpose, you must crown it up with this. Because many people don't understand that they're here for a period, for a purpose. You're not here, you're not going to be here forever. So he said, a man's life, when I say man, I mean a human being, okay? A human being's life, the duration that you have been given to live in this world is like the length of a candle. The day you were born, the candle is lighted. And every day, it's burning until it finishes. And when it finishes, the candle's purpose, candle's use is no more. So I said, then what is the length? Some are tall, some are short. What does that mean? He said, take a look. The human beings that have lived, you've lived with, they are living with, what have you? And those that have died, those that are still alive, can you observe that people lived a certain number of years and they go? Have they lived the same time? The people who have died, have they died at the same time? I said no. So that tells you each length of a candle is different. It means each of us have a different number of years to spend. So when somebody says, I'm going to live until I'm very old, big mistake. Because my very old may be 10 years. You are very old, maybe 50 years. You are very, very old is 100 and something years. I was told of one man who said, dead, don't forget about him. They say it lived about 100, and he's 100 and something, and he's still alive. All his children have died. Some even his grandchildren have also died. But the man's still there. They say, they chop the children. That's why. It's not. Each of us has a period, time allocated to us to live. Because when he said, take a look at the length of the candles. And I said, yes. He said, each of us has been apportioned a certain number of years to live. When that time is over, like when the candle burns right through, it finishes. So first thing you must know as Christians is that God has apportioned to us the number of years to live. We have a number of years to live. That's why David says, teach us to number our days, that we may live with what? Wisdom. We are not going to be here forever. So some people is tall, some is short, some is very short. The length of time that God has given you to live in the world depends on the purpose you are here to serve, the purpose you are here for. Because he said, take a look around you. There are many people who have died. Some are older than you, some are younger than you. True or false? I said true. Say some of those younger ones who have died, if going by human standards, they are better people than you. So why have you not died? The time that you have been given to live. So each of us, that's one thing I want us to go with today, if there's anything. The fact that we have been given time to live in this world. When it is over, you go back and give account. Your life has a purpose. And if your life has a purpose, it has to be fulfilled, or else there are problems that you will face when you go back. So as I was watching the candles, then suddenly I saw something did like this. And one of the candles is still there, but the thing went off. So I said, why did the candle go off when it has not finished? Because going off means death. Then why did it go off when it has not finished? And he said, listen to this. There is premature death. When you live carelessly, those who live under the cover of the Almighty will finish their time properly. Unfortunately, we don't know the time, do we? We don't know. But there are people who will die prematurely because of careless living, outside the protection. So when I saw the thing did like that and the candle went up, I said, but so what's the... He said, no, there is premature wave. That's why we need God to live. We need God for the success of anything you will do. What encouraged me, what opened my mind more to that is this passage on Job chapter 1. I think from verses 7, 8, 9. It talks about when they appeared before God and said, where are you from? Do you know about my servant Job? He said, of course I know Job. Have you not created a fence around him and blessed the works of his hands? You need this protection. The fence is what will protect you from your candle being put off before time. The chicken comes out with his children and is going, and she sees a hawk up there. What happens? She opens her wings when the hawks are attempting to, she covers them. Is that not so? Same thing with us. If we walk with God, there's any danger, He will open wings to cover us. That's why we need God. You can't live to fulfill purpose without God, independent of God. This candle thing, what frightens me most is the fact that none of us came with a handbook that tells you your candle is 20 years or 30 years. So we are living without the knowledge of the length. Is that not so? That means every day that you are alive, you must use it for something that will account in fulfilling purpose. You can't afford to waste any time, because time is the most precious resource. It's the only resource that if you lose, you can't get back. Time. That's why in Africa it's terrible, isn't it? People waste time. 10 o'clock program, and the person will come at 12, and he's not bothered. He will walk all the way and come and sit in front. And he's not bothered to say African time. There's nothing called African time. Time is time. And it's the most precious of all resources, because every day you are becoming older. And the older you become, the more your candle is finishing. And since none of us knows the length of his candle still remaining, then we can't afford to waste time. And wasting time is using time to do what is not relevant, what will not be looked at on the last day. Because on the last day, if your life is a trust. You know, when you give somebody a trust, he will have to give account of it, isn't it? So we may even add that to the three things we have as life. So your life is a trust, a promise, part of a whole, and an opportunity. You are going to give account of your life tomorrow. So you can't afford to waste time in doing anything that will not show up in the balance sheet. Because at the end of the day, if what you are doing will not contribute to profitability of the business, it's a waste of time, isn't it? Should you be wasting your time, given the fact that time is passing? Because when you light the candle, for example, when there's no light, and you light the candle to read with, and then you light the thing, instead of reading, you go and stand by the window and you are waving everybody who's passing. Will the candle wait for you? No. That's what's happening to many of us. We are wasting time on irrelevant things. Gossip, talking about doing what have you, drinking, all kinds of useless things. that at the end of the day will not appear as part of the accounting we will give. So when you know that your life is finishing because it's an opportunity, honestly, there are many things you will not waste your time on. And you should not, because time lost can never be gotten back. It's a race that we're in, so that the candle does not finish before I finish my work. So if you invite me to go do something that will not help me to live my life, it's only a fool will do what will not matter. So friends, that's what your life is. That's what the issue of identity and purpose is all about. You are here for a purpose. You're not an accident. How you were born does not matter. The fact that you have arrived, that's your purpose. God expects you to live and fulfill the purpose. Do what you have been brought to do. But for you to be able to live and do what you are supposed to do within the time that you have been given, you will have to become the person who can do that thing. The other time I came for another program that you had, I was talking about this becoming concept. Many people don't know it. It's a missing link. It's a very serious matter. That is that you cannot do what you are supposed to do until you become a person who can do. Why? You came in as a raw material. You need to be processed and made useful for the purpose for which you are. Does that make sense to you? You are a raw material. You came raw. The reason why you go to school, the reason why you attend church services where you are being taught, you attend seminars, the way you relate people, things that are happening, what we call disciplines that you practice, is for the purpose of making you. Because until you've become, you can't do. There's a concept called, they said, you be, then you can do, and you can have. There are many people today who say, give me money, and I'll be rich. That's not true. I set off as a trainer. I've been training. Then for years, we've been training people, because I went out with this adage that says, if you give a man fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, what happens? You do what? You do what? It's not true. If it were true, ITF today would have been out of work. Because the number of skill acquisition training that they have done, they've spent billions in teaching people how to fish. Is that not so? But what happens at the end of the day? They train people, skill acquisition, they give them starter packs, they sell them. I said, yes, if you give a man fish, truly you feed him for a day. But if you teach him only how to fish and give him a net to go fish, he will sell the net to buy fish. Yes, that's what has been happening. Why? Because it's about making him a fisherman. When you make him a fisherman, you give him a net, he will fish. That's why Jesus spent 3.5 years with his disciples to make them fishers of men, not teach them how to fish. So we are born for a purpose. We came equipped to do something, but we did not come qualified. So we need to be developed to become people who can do what God sent us to do. That's why we come to church. That's why we have discipleship class. That's why we have these teachings and the rest of them. The reason is for us to make you people who can live life as life is supposed to be lived. That's what it's about. It's not that you came to church. You are a member of a church. Yes, you should be a member of a church, because that's where teachings are done. Because the process of making, when I explain it, you will understand why you need to go to church, why you need to be a member of a church, why you need to study the Bible. Because until you become, you can't do. And now that we know that we have an assignment, we are here to do something, it's for our good to be available, to be made, to be able to do what we're here for. Because nobody came qualified. You came equipped, but not qualified. And you need to be qualified to do. That's why if you join the army, even if you are a graduate, and they take you in, for example, I read engineering. If I had joined the army, because they will employ me or they will recruit me to take me into the Army Engineers Corps. Is that not so? They will not say, because I've already been trained as an engineer, so they will just post me to the Army Engineers and give me a rank. No way. I will have to be made a soldier so that I can do engineering as a soldier. Because when it comes to being a soldier, it's totally different from being a civilian. As a soldier, when Oga say, you are stupid, what do you say? I was saying it somewhere like the guy said, no. When Oga says you are stupid, you will say, yes, sir, always. Always. Total commitment. So I said, what do you people do to people that you carry bloody civilian? After 6 months, he comes back, you say you are stupid. They say, yes, sir, always. You put uniform on me now and tell me I'm stupid. I will say, okay, what do I do you? Is that not true? I cannot just say, yes, sir. So they put them through a process that makes them to become like that. Then they are able to do soldiers' work. The same thing, we need to go through a process to become people who can live life as life should be lived. Because as I said, people fail in business, people fail in life because they go with the attitude of, or the desire of getting what they will need to make a living. But for you to get from people, you must give them something. But many of us go with a selfish mindset. We're not thinking about the good of the people. So what will it take for you to be able to do that? You have to be made to be a person who can serve. What pains me everywhere, I just came back from a summit in Abuja, say the Christian Transformation Summit. And we are talking, what do? We gather in seminars, conferences, and whatever. We are talking about how bad our nation is, how bad our leaders are, how this and that, how this, and we are lamenting and what have you. The church that is supposed to make people to go and do things correctly, we are not doing it because the process is not being followed. That's why we are producing people who cannot do. You give nets, and as I said, they sell the nets to buy fish because we've not made them fishermen. So until you get the man right, his wall will not be right. The reason why we have challenges, problems in our society, the problem is not about the society. People are running overseas to go and what have you there, that the place is better. There are many who have run there and they want to come back. And they can't come back because they can't afford ticket. Because they realize that the place will not be like they say, oh, the way they see for television. But how is their place like that and our own not like that? Like the things are not working in our own. Policeman will stop on the road, collect bribe from you. And even if you don't have particulars, once you have given him money, what happens? You pass. Can you do that in London? Or in the US, somewhere in one of the states or in one of the towns in the US? I was telling them somewhere that just looking at the policeman alone, you won't have the courage to remove anything to give him. Because the man looks better than you. Yes. See the dress you wear, white shirt. You would think as if, what did he take wash this your clothes? Because it's so white. Look at his shoe. You can see your face. And then you see the way they behave. Why are they like that? And they are doing the work well. They have been made. We are not. Before things will be good, the people must be good first. Luke chapter 6 verse 45 says, make a tree good and it will bear good fruit. So if the people are not good, you can't get good things out of them. That's our problem. Telling them the wrong things they are doing does not change them, will not change them. Get the man right and his wall will be right. Because I was thinking, why are things not working in Africa? Why are we not producing people who can do things correctly? We want to live life as life should be lived. That is, if it is service, we must have servants. Is that not so? Because only a servant can serve. Now, what does it take to be a servant? It's not just knowing how to serve. It's not just knowing how to serve. You have to be a servant. What does it mean to be? When are you said to have become? That is when you are functioning correctly. When do you function correctly? When every part of you is functioning as expected. Because when something goes wrong, for you to repair it, you need to know how the thing was made to operate. Is that not so? In the same vein, because human beings are not functioning well and we want to repair them before we deploy them, we need to know how a human being was created to function. So how was a human being created to function? Because friends, the truth is that things are going wrong in your world, not because of the environment you are in, not because of other people, it's because of you. That's why if you want to change things, change you first. If we want our country to change, we have to change the people. And that's the work God has given us as a church. When I was thinking about it, God answers questions. So it just got me. I saw a story in a book that confirms this to me. He said, this man, every time he comes back home from work, he will play with his small son. So on this day, he had work that he needed to submit the next day. So he brought the work home. And the son came as usual. Daddy, let's play. He said, no, just a minute. When I finish this work, we will play. Okay? So he went into his study, and the boy went out. Less than 30 minutes, he was knocking on the door. Daddy, can we now play? He said, not yet. Just come back later. Less than 20 minutes, the boy was knocking on the door again. Hi. Less than 20 minutes, the boy will be knocking. So he was wondering what will he do to keep this boy away. Then he saw on his table a newspaper page of a newspaper with a map of the world, this globe, So he said, aha. He divided the thing like a jigsaw and said, assemble the thing and we will play. He thought it will take him a long time, isn't it? Because the boy does not know the countries of the world and how he will put them together and what have you. So he expected that it's going to take the boy a long time. 30 minutes, the boy was knocking on the door. Yes, son, what's the problem? He said, I have finished. No, come on. He said, no. He said, no, Dad, come and see. So he went into the boy's room, and truly the boy has arranged the thing perfectly. He said, son, how are you able to do it? He said, Daddy, I don't know the countries of the world, so I couldn't assemble the thing well. I was finding it difficult. But lo and behold, I looked at the back of the paper and I discovered there was a picture of a human being. So when I got the man right, the world was right. It's very true. You are failing in your business. You are failing in your marriage. You are failing in your issues of finances. You are failing in relationships, not because of the environment you are in, not because of marriage is bad, not because business is bad. No, it's you. And until you are repaired, wherever you go, you have problems. That's why the army works on you first. That's why Jesus worked on the disciples first, to make them. But that's not the strategy we do here. When we come, we work on the skills. So getting the man right, as I said, we need to know how the man was put together to function. So we realize that we can put the man divide a human being into 3 equal parts, or 3 parts, and that's how he functions, okay? First is the head. Actually, I usually call them the 3H. But 3H, the last H has two parts. So we have the head, the heart, and the hands. How many heads do we have? 1. How many hearts do we have? How many hands do we have? 2. Each of these represents something that went wrong in a human being, that the human being is malfunctioning. If we are to repair the human being, these 3 parts must be in order. Usually when I say head, a human being is head, heart, and hands. That's how it operates. People will ask me, how about legs? And I said, legs, that one really does not matter, because wherever the head goes, the legs will go. Did you get that? So the head, when the head is not functioning correctly, the human being will not function well. The heart is not functioning well because they each have a role to play in enabling a human being to function well. So let's find out what each part is responsible for. What is the head for? What is the head associated with? Reasoning. Yes? What's the head associated with? Imagination, thinking, knowledge. Okay? So the head has to do with knowledge, thinking. How about the heart? Emotions. The heart has to do with feelings. Somebody said that is soul. Yeah, the heart is conscience and soul. Okay, so the heart has to do with character. The hands, what do we use the hands for? Doing. So when a human being misbehaves or he does something wrong, have you ever heard the term say your head not correct? And it's true, because if a person is thinking wrongly, because we operate by the knowledge that we have about. So if I employ you to do work for me, or if you are in marriage, or you are in business, the way you do business, the way you do the work, the way you function in your marriage is dependent on the knowledge you have about the thing. So if you see work as what you do to find job, anytime you are at work, where is your focus? It's job. If marriage, you are thinking about marriage is getting somebody who can help you do this, somebody who will do this for you, somebody will do this for you. That's the way you define marriage. And is that the correct way of marriage? Is that the correct definition of what work should be? No wonder you are doing it wrongly. That's why the starting point of getting a person to become somebody who can do something is to correct what is in his head. Mindset, belief system, what the man believes, how the man sees the thing. That's why Romans chapter 12 verse 2 is key. It says, be transformed by what? Renewal of your mind. Because until the renewal of mind is getting new information into you, the correct information into you. If you are not operating by the correct information, you are in trouble. You won't get into the thing. The children of Israel left Egypt. When they came out from Egypt, God was taking them to the promised land. Is that not so? Was he able to do it? Did they enter? Those who left that place could not get in. Why? Their head not correct. We cannot go in. We are not worthy to sin. And he said because of that, he can't get them in. So the reason why we are facing the challenges that we are facing, the problems we are facing, is that we are carrying wrong knowledge. That's why head must be transformed. Transformation starts with the head, belief system, our outlook, our mindset. If you don't believe the Bible, because the truth is what is expected to guide us, and is what is in the Bible. And if we are not operating by that, it's already a problem for us. Many of the people who are in position of leadership, if you ask them what leadership is, they'll give you a wrong definition. Because their own belief, their own knowledge of what leadership is not correct. So they can't act correctly. If you want a person to live life as life should be lived, that's why today's seminar that we're talking about, what your life is, how you're supposed to live, is the foundation. And I discovered, I read engineering, as I told you. I wondered why God put me to do engineering and then pulled me out to push me where I am. One of the key things that I think God helped me by doing that is the fact that I have an understanding of foundations. Without the foundation, a building cannot stand. There's no building that has no foundation, no matter the kind of building. You are going 10 stories, there's foundation. It's a bungalow, there is a foundation. Because a foundation is necessary for every building to stand. And knowledge is foundational to everything. That's why he said, my people perish for lack of knowledge. If you don't know, you will suffer. And that's why we are suffering today, because we don't know. As I said before, there's no scarcity of anything. Ignorance of how to get, what it takes to get, is our problem. So correct the head. Let him carry the right information. But there are many of us who carry the right information, and we want to do it, but we find ourselves not able to do. Is that not true? Romans chapter 7, I think verse 15, Paul says, the good I want to do, I don't do. But the bad that I don't want to do, I find myself doing. So it means he knows the correct thing. Is that not so? His head correct. So why is he not able to use what is in the head? He is not able to because when you go out there in the environment where you are going to function, to do what you know, there are what we call derailment forces. Negative forces that are working on you to make sure you don't do the good thing you know. And the ability to resist these forces is what can enable you to do what you know with your hands. And that strength that you need to resist these forces that we call derailment forces is what we call character. Character. This podium, or this, is able to carry my weight because of the inner strength it has. Is that not so? This inner strength of this thing is what we call its character. It's material science. Character. It gives him the strength to resist derailment forces. When you are out there, there's somebody who comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And he sends on you. How he does that, we'll talk about it maybe some other times. But how does Satan operate to get you to do the things that you are not supposed to do? We live as a human being. This is not me. This is the house I live in. So this house that I live in is the channel through which God walks and Satan walks. Whoever controls this channel controls me. So Satan walks through this house that I live in with the flesh. Hello? Am I saying something strange? No. Okay. I'm sure we're all familiar with this. So you need character, which is the heart. So head correct, heart correct, we have the strength. Now we need to cause the thing to happen, because we live in a cause and effect world. Genesis chapter 8 verse 22 says, as long as the earth remains, there shall be seed time, harvest time. Until you cause, nothing will happen. So you need to sow to reap. You need to sow to reap. So for you to be able to cause to happen, you need what we call skills. And that is what hands are for, doing. Now, you will notice that there are, how many hands? 2 hands. That means there are 2 types of skills. Unfortunately, what we call skill acquisition trainings that we do, we are only addressing one skill. So let's talk about the type of skills that I was talking about, then we can explain their function, okay? So the 2 types of skills represented by the 2 hands are called micro and macro skills. What we call soft skills, hard skills. I'm sure we've heard that before, right? Soft skills have to do with the person's character. There are things that have to do with the person. But hard skills have to do with the doing. The doing. So there are many people who have the hard skills but don't have the soft skills. So they are not able to use the hard skills well. Some of you here know about tailors. If he sew dress for you, fantastic. But he never sits down to sew. You know people like that? You end up quarreling. The material will disappear. Some of them, you go, he will be telling you stories, and then he may not even show the thing good at the end of the day. He has micro skills, but no macro. There are many people who have started businesses. The business has not grown. He employs somebody to work with him. Before you know, the guy will leave. I can't work for that man. Some of you work in offices. Every department they post you to, you quarrel with everybody. And they keep transferring you to different, when they discover they can't contain you, they just send you away. Lack of macro skills. That's why they said micro, which is the hard skill, can get you a job. But what will keep you in the job is the macro skill, the soft skills, which are relational skills, ability to relate with people. So what we do in what we call skill acquisition trainings is simply talking about the micro skill, the hard skills. They are teaching them how to make sandals, how to make soap, but they are not teaching them how to operate the system to become people who can operate the system. They can't relate with customers. They can't manage the resources that come in. So, get the man right. How do you do it? His head, his heart, his hands. How you do that is what we have been taught daily in church. The sermons that are being preached in this are all aimed at correcting the head, enable you to know how to activate. Because you see, the interesting thing, the day you become a Christian, what has been deposited in you contains what can give you the character. But you need to know how to activate it. Because if you give me a car, beautiful car as it is, but you don't give me the key, I can't use the car. The Holy Spirit comes with everything you need, but you need to activate it. Is that not so? That's what the sermons are usually for. Every Sunday. Sometimes we come even the midweek. And some people have been coming here for how many years now? No change. Because they have not activated the thing. And as long as you have not activated the thing, it can't work for you. You have to be able to do. And you need to be so that you can do. Because you are a trust. Your life is a trust. Your life is a promise. And one day you are going to appear when the candle finished to give account. And you need to, friends, because time is running out. The question is, have you become? Or are you even living to become? And you know, as you are becoming, you are practicing what we are expected to. For example, I'm called to be a teacher. Every opportunity to teach is opportunity to become better. I was teaching, I think it was in Kagoro, and I was explaining this issue and the role of Satan and all the rest of them. Somebody shouted at the back, say, hey, I now know, Satan no go die. Some people, they shout, say, Satan die, Satan die, Satan die. Say, Satan no go die. Satan are God's employee. How? By the time you make something, how do you know whether the thing good? You try it. So God is providing you like what he has done today now, giving you with this information. By the time you leave this place, Satan, they wait for the door. Even they hear self, because some of us, as we're sitting there, you could hear somebody, some things are talking. Some people are here, but they are not here. They are already in town or they are in their village. Why is that so? Satan walks through, he starts with the mind first. There's a seminar I've developed, talked about impulses, how to respond to impulses. You know, it's a key thing because it's the format of getting you to do the things that you are doing. Why do you do the things that you are doing? What will it take for you to do what you should do? They follow the same process because it starts with a thought and it's usually a trigger that activates the thing. Then he leaves you with it to go. He activates it and then just withdraw. So when you say, now Satan make me do it, say, me? When did we meet? I don't know you. So that's what it is, friends. We have to live this life because a day is coming when we are going to appear before God to give an account. But for us to be able to do it, we must first become people who can do it. How do we become? We start with knowledge, head. That's what we've talked about, what our life is. When you know what your life is now, the next thing is what will it take for you to do? Because there are many people who they put to go learn skills, for example, and you said, they are punishing me. If you know the benefits of the skills to be a living life, to go give account, will you see you are being made to acquire skills as punishment? No. You won't even be talking about what you will give me. Because if somebody creates a business and employs you, or somebody calls you and is training you, you should be thanking God for the person every day. Because it enables you to live life. And once you live life well, whatever you need will be given to you. So, that's what is it, friends. That you know who we are, how we are. That is identity and what? Purpose. It's because of the civil service. That's one of the things that I'm working on now. And I'm planning to meet with the governor. Magana retirement. to educate civil servants about this issue of, look, life is not about promotion to the next level. It's not about becoming a permanent secretary. It's not about becoming a commissioner. No, it's about living to fulfill your purpose. I was in the civil service before. When I became general manager, well, in 1993, I was made chief engineer in 1986 when I came back from my postgraduate studies. I wanted to leave, but I heard it clearly. God said, don't go, because you have not yet finished training, as you have not finished yet. Because I am in the system for training, not for position. Because I'm not going to tell God whether I was a commissioner or I was a permanent secretary or no. It's about fulfilling purpose. So in 2000, well, in 96, I was made GM when Nasarawa State was created. And then in 2000, I left. The next position after general manager could have been, if I were following system, I'd either be appointed a permanent secretary or commissioner or whatever. There are many people who have died even though they are going around. I'm sure you've heard the statement that he died at 40 but was buried at 60. Have you heard that statement before? He is no longer living life. So what I'm trying to do now, the campaign I've launched, is to educate civil servants about retirement. Retirement is not 60 years. Retirement is not 35 years, for your information. Retirement is end of a phase. When you come to the end of a phase and you don't live, you die. 60 years, 35 years is actually set by the employer. That is the time they no longer need you. So they kick you out and bring a stronger Jackie. We go carry load. Every phase is a training phase for you to live life. It's not about the position. Whether he becomes permanent secretary or becomes commissioner or becomes director is not the issue. Is he working? Because reporting at secretariat is not work. What value are you creating? Many people live and die because they stop working and they remain in the system for years. So by the time they say go, when they no longer need you, when they go out, society does not pay grade level. Society pays value. And when you leave as somebody who can no longer create value, what happens? You die. And that's why many people retire and die. That's why many people retire and enter hardships, because they have no longer become value creators. Work there is simply opportunity to create value, not for position. Let him not think of, I'm here to follow patterns so that I can go and become a permanent secretary. The way things are now, the thing has been politicized. Is that not so? So that is what has happened to him. So he stops living and become angry with the system and then stop living life. He will die. Because there are many people who die before they live. They've become frustrated with the system. They're angry with everybody, including themselves. Educate civil servants to let them know it's not about position. You don't even need to be permanent secretary to be free financially. Because the guy is looking at, if he's promoted to that position, is the benefits that will are associated with the positions and the salary increase that he's looking for. Is that not so? But do you know that's what kills some people when they leave the service? Because they get used to that position. They get, one of the biggest problems of people who retire is that retirement is coming to the end of a phase and you need to transit. But when you are not able to end, people reach the end and they're expected to transit to a new phase, but they leave and enter a new world as they have been in the old world. And you can't function in a new world with the old mentality. That's what kills people. So God has ways of doing things. Sometimes we don't understand it. The fact that they brought somebody from outside, they didn't give him the position, is another way of God allowing him to be told that your time is over. Go. But he cannot go because he's afraid. What will he go and do? But if you had lived and prepared yourself, when they start behaving like that, that's opportunity for you to exit. Because when pregnancy is 9 months, it's supposed to be delivered naturally. Is that not so? When the thing does not come naturally, what happened? CS. The man should have left. He didn't leave. So they brought somebody as to force him out. That's why this story I was telling you about the man shouting, hey, Satan, no go die. Satan, God is using Satan to test us. God is using Satan. Satan comes to distill, to destroy you. Is that not so? Satan, God could have thrown away the guy one day. But why has he allowed him until the time? Because he still has a role to play in making us. So the system can be very dangerous if you don't understand it. Everything now is politicized. So who says he must be in that? I am supposed to be. The anger of that alone can keep him down, and he will not function anymore. Because the greatest destroyer of a person is anger inside, bitterness. Right now, if he's not careful, that thing will start manifesting in other areas of his body, like some form of disease. I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm told that's what happens sometimes. Bitterness, anger, they all have things, they manifest in the external, and let him not get himself to that level. To start with, the ministry, the civil service does not belong to him. The owner can do whatever he wants to do. You remember the story of the man who they employed some in the morning, they employed some in the night or evening. And then when the man came to pay them, he paid the same amount. And they must say, these people just came now, and the other ones came now. What? How can you pay us the same? And the man said, okay, wait. Now my job, the money is my own. Did I pay you what you are supposed to collect? He said, yes. And so what's your own problem? Who says you must be permanent secretary? It's about becoming. Once you have become a value creator, you can leave and go do things in another place. You don't have to die in the civil service. That's my dream, that the government will allow me to educate civil servants about retirement. Because too many people are dying because of ignorance of how to live. If only we know that life is about productive living and you become a productive person, then this period is for learning how to become. So that by the time you come to the end of a phase, you can move to another phase and start living again. Move to another phase. There will be many phases before your candle finally finishes. But many people end up becoming people who cannot create value. And since society does not pay for great level, when they are removed from salary, where they are being paid, even when they don't work, they become problem, because you have to create value for society to be paid. You have to become a person who can do. You must carry a business mentality to do business. So that's what is it. Is that okay? Thank you.